Buenos días, buenas tardes o buenas noches, depende en la hora en que mires este video. I want to go over briefly with you what it is that I mean when I say think about what you can say in Spanish, not what you want to say in English. You're still new to this language and very young in it, so you're not going to be able to describe things and talk about things in Spanish the same way that you do in English. You're going to be limited by the vocabulary and grammar that you know and have available to you right now. Because of that, your answers may not be quite as accurate as you'd like for them to be, with the honesty kind of idea. And that's okay. You're trying to give as close of an idea of what you want to say to somebody in Spanish that you can get. And so in order to do that, you need to really learn how to tap into whatever Spanish you have available. So when you are asked a question, and I have one here that you were asked numerous times previously, ¿Cómo te preparas en la mañana? First thing you want to do is think about what kind of information is being asked of me. A couple of things to look for are the verbs that are being used. In this case, I'm doing the verb phrasing of te preparas. And then also, is there a question word used? In this case, there is, ¿cómo?, which means how. So how I need to keep in the back of my mind, because typically the hows and the whats and the whens and the wheres are fairly similarly used between English and Spanish. There are, of course, exceptions. However, in this case, the how does fit. How and then preparas. Well, preparas is a cognate. It means to prepare. Who's being prepared? Myself. Te preparas. How do I prepare myself? That doesn't sound quite right in English, because in English we say, how do we get ready? En la mañana. Well, I definitely know mañana can be tomorrow. It can also mean this morning. I don't think that they're asking me about tomorrow, but even if they were, tomorrow morning could work. So I'm going to go with morning because that's a little more definite with that. So what I end up with is, how do I get myself ready in the morning? So now that I know kind of what kind of information I need to give, I need to think about what can I say. So I want to visualize myself getting up, getting ready. What am I doing? So I might say levantarme, because I might have forgotten. So I want to say get up, but I don't really, or I want to say wake up, but I don't really remember how to say that. We'll just say. So levantarme would work. I know how to say bañarme. Oh, and I'm changing the may because, and that's, I'm noticing I'm doing, you're most likely going to say. So you know what? I'm going to go back and change that to say. Can you think of why I was making them may instead of say, even though I hadn't conjugated it? I want you to think about that as we're going, and we'll talk about it in a second. Levantarse, bañarse, cepillarse. ¿Qué más? Ponerse, like for ropa, comer. Yeah, so there's some ideas, some things. And so I kind of am stopping because I'm like, okay, I'm not quite sure what other vocabulary I can use. And mine, I'm actually going through the same process because I'm thinking about, well, what will you also understand? So I also have limitations around mine. So when I'm talking to you in Spanish, I actually do similar things because I think about not so much what can I say in Spanish, but more what can you understand in Spanish. Therefore, I go through a similar process. So here I have a list of things. Which ones do I feel the most comfortable with? Well, I know I can say time and levantarse go together well, so I'm going to use that one. Cepillarse, there's actually a couple things I could say around that, so I'm going to use that one. And then I'm going to finish up with comer, because I just like to comer. I like eating. So, to respond, I go back and I'm looking at the verb that was used. In this case, it's kind of a verb phrasing because it is reflexive. So the te preparas means you do, kind of to get ready, but I need to talk about myself. What do I do? So And it's not that I want to say, I don't want to say I get myself ready. I actually want to say what it is I do when I get myself ready. So I'm not going to use that exact verb. Instead, I'm going to follow how it was conjugated in the question. Oops, I should say ropa, not roba. To be able to change kind of the verbs that need to be changed that way in my response. So I actually did kind of put these in a little bit of an order, well, sort of how I do this. So I'm going to get myself up first. So there's the te here, which corresponds with the say, but neither of those refer to me. Instead, that's the me, which is why I had said me to begin with, excuse me. Levantarme, because I know I'm going to say to get myself up, and I just automatically did that first. So then I take the rest of the verb, levantar, but I want to make it me, so levanto, me levanto, temprano. So here I can add a little more extra information if I can think of something, maybe a las 6, temprano, tarde, a a certain time would all work. Then of course I have me cepillo, so I do the same thing, myself, and then the O, me cepillo los dientes y, whoops, y el cabello, or I could say pelo for hair. And then I also como, desayuno. So those are my verb phrases. Now I need to kind of clean it up a little bit by putting some transitions in there. So me levanto temprano, or I could say primero. So I might want to say primero me levanto. Levanto temprano. Luego, then, luego me cepillo los dientes, el cabello. Y finalmente, como desayuno. Y me voy. Finalmente, sí. So here is my final phrasing. Because I'm writing it out and not having to say it on the spot, this is the steps I'd like to see you take as well. Come up with some ideas, a list of brainstorming, what fits. Then conjugate them and make sure that they're referring back to the right person doing the action. Then look at them and say, okay, do they flow? And can I add a little more detail to any of them along the way with things like temprano, los dientes, or cabello, and then desayuno. Those are my extra information. And then I have some transitions in this case in that I'm listing. Primero, this is first what I do. Luego, then I do this. Finalmente, finally, this is how I am done. I hope that this is helpful. If you have any questions or you'd like to work on this with me some more, please set up a time, and I look forward to hearing from you. Ten un buen día. Ciao.